Hey guys, it's Luke with yet another video, and today I am driving the 2017 Toyota GT86. Now this car is almost legendary. It's almost gotten up to that level in popularity with the fan base, and it has been known as one of the best small sports cars you can buy for the money. This car starts at $25,000, and I think it might be one of the very best ways to get yourself into a fun, sporty car without breaking the bank. But, however, there is a decent amount of competition. You have the Mazda Miata, which my family owns, and there's always been a lot of back and forth. Oh, which one's better? Do you get the GT86, the BRZ, the Miata? Like, there's a lot of back and forth, and as far as I know, it's been a tie so far with a lot of the reviews I've seen. But what we're going to find out today is, does the GT86 really separate itself from the Miata, or does it not really pull away? Is the Miata still kind of the better choice? We are going to find out in this review today. So let's start off with the styling. I think this car looks really good, but there are a few things that hold it back from achieving its true potential in terms of the way it looks. Now, the front end is aggressive, but I wouldn't necessarily call it pretty. The grille, I'm not sure what I think of the shape. It's definitely aggressive and it definitely stands out and looks imposing, but I wouldn't call it pretty. It doesn't stir my soul, but it does grab your eyes, that's for sure. The headlamps are really aggressive looking. They tie into the fenders really nicely, very streamlined, and they definitely have that kind of JDM look to them, which I feel like a lot of the fan base is going to appreciate. Now, the one thing I don't like is there are these fake cooling vents next to the grille that quote unquote would send cool air to the brakes to help cool them. However, they're fake. They're just pieces of plastic stuck on there. You can grab it with your hand and jiggle them. That is uncool. Why do they do that? And Toyota's not the only car maker that does this. So many car makers put fake vents on their cars, and I do not get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, moving on to the sides, you have yet more fake vents above the wheels. That's just, I don't understand what they're going for with that, but they did it anyway. But you do have nice GT86 badging, looks great, shows some pedigree with this car, and that kind of harks back to the AE86 from the 1980s. So it's really cool to have that badge there, really nice. And you have 17-inch alloy wheels that look sick. You have really nice black accents on the inside, and oh my god, do they pop. They make this car look real good. Now, moving on to the back, I think the taillights look very similar to the Miatas. They're bigger, they're more imposing, but it's basically a circular design with a bit of a fin coming off that stretches into the rear quarter panel. I think it really ties together the design. You also have this rear diffuser that kind of looks F1 style with the way the lights positioned. It's a really cool look, and your dual exhaust system just complements that even better. But one thing that I would change is the fact that there's no spoiler on this car. I feel like the deck lid just looks way too boring without a spoiler, and I feel like the addition of a little lip spoiler would just really complete the look on this car. Now, let's talk about the driving experience and the powertrain of the GT86, because that's what you're buying this car for. It's a sports car. You want it to drive great, and this car does. And a lot of that is down to its 2-liter flat-4 engine. Now, it's basically a Subaru-derived engine because this car was developed with a joint venture between Toyota and Subaru, and Subaru definitely claimed responsibility for a lot of the powertrain. It produces 205 horsepower in this rendition. The pre-facelift model only put out 200 horsepower, but it revs all the way to 7,500 RPM, and it sounds great doing so. It has a deep, burbly growl that sounds awesome. I really do like this engine. The one thing that it gets complained about the most, though, is the fact that it's not very fast. And I mean, relatively speaking, I guess you could say it's not very fast, but let's be real, it's a sports car, and this thing really is quite quick. It does 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds and will go on to a top speed of 136 miles an hour, which I say for public road driving is more than adequate. Yes, it's not going to blow your socks off in a straight line, but I want this this car for the cornering. It has McPherson struts in the front and double wishbone rear suspension, which means that it corners flat and level and hard. This thing corners really well. That's the one place where it definitely beats the Miata. I mean, the Miata, even though it has less power, it's still quicker to 60, but this car corners so much better. In the Miata, you have a decent amount of body roll, and this car, you just don't get any of that. It is super flat, and I just think it just handles like nothing else on the road today for this price point. It's just absolutely awesome the way it drives. The steering feel is epic. It's truly epic. And the reason that it is so good is because it has weight to it. The one thing I don't like about the Miata steering is it's super commutative, super direct, but it's too light. This steering system here is super commutative, super direct, has tons of feel, but it has a good weight to it. I can chuck it into turns and the weight builds up progressively. It really communicates what's going on the road to my hands, and God, is it a joy to just pitch it into a turn and just feel it cling on and just communicate everything to you. It is such a good steering setup. Now, you're gonna buy this car for back road use and maybe some light track use, so I think this chassis setup is perfect for that. Yeah, you might want some more power, but in terms of the drive, this car is really damn near unbeatable. It's unbelievably good. So let's talk about the interior of this car, and that is one thing that really differentiates this car from the Miata. The Miata has a really nice, classy interior that kind of harks back to old sports cars from the 60s and 70s in the way it's designed in that elegant, sporty way. And I love that interior. This interior, not the same deal. It's a lot more focused, and you notice that immediately as you step in. You hop in and you're immediately sitting down in these bucket seats that really grip you. The bolsters come out. They are longer than my body is wide, pretty much. They hold me super, super well. And you cannot get leather in this car, but quite frankly, I don't think I'd want leather. This cloth material, it's almost like a faux suede material on the bolsters. It holds you in really well, and it's quite comfortable to sit in, if not a bit firm. Now, the steering wheel is nice and leather wrapped. You have an 86 badge on the horn, and that just looks awesome. Reminds you that you're driving a car with some pedigree. But the biggest difference is the fact that you have all this suede material on the top of the door panels. Feels super nice, super premium compared to the previous car. You have leather here on the armrest. You have leather stitching on the bottom of the door panels, suede on the dash, little GT86 logo there on the dashboard. It just looks really good. I always used to think this interior looked a little bit cheap, but now I just think it rocks. This is a really, really nice place to be. And also, unless you were blind, you'd probably know that this car is a hardtop. It is not a convertible. It's a coupe. Therefore, it's more rigid, and I think that also helps out with its agility in the turns compared to the Miata. Now, there are a few things in this interior that I don't like so much. The infotainment system, yes, it's a 7-inch display, and it pipes sound through an 8-speaker Pioneer audio system, which sounds pretty good. The problem is, the actual screen looks like something you would have picked off the shelf at Best Buy. I'm not sure why they decided to do that. I mean, the graphics are okay, and the whole screen logic is fairly intuitive and it's quick and easy to use, but just the look of it just doesn't fit. It needs to be something that looks more bespoke and more built for this car rather than something that you can just stick in anything. I don't really like that. But you have very easy to use climate control knobs. It's manual climate control, nothing crazy there. But by far away, the best part of this car on the interior is the gauge cluster, in my opinion. It's so easy to read. You just have a massive tachometer in the second for revs, little digital speedo readout, analog speedo on the left, and then fuel and engine temperature gauges on the right. That's it. It's clean, simple, easy to use, easy to read, exactly what you need for track use and hard driving. So this car is definitely more of a performance machine, and you can tell that when you look down by the shifter and you see the button that says track mode with a little flag next to it. Push it and many things change, such as the traction control being turned off. Now, I think that's cool because it shows that Toyota knows that their customers are gonna want to use this car the appropriate way. Oh yeah, this thing rocks. Yep, the shifter is awesome. Oh my God, every time it just gets me. And the burble from that flat 4, yeah, this car means business. This thing is sick to drive. Yeah, oh my God, I could go on all day. It's just so easy and so nice and just reads your mind. It's telepathic. You put it into a turn, you know exactly what's going on. You feel every single bit of the car, and track mode just makes it so much better. Just the fact that it has a track mode just really shows that they were paying attention to detail and really thinking about what the buyers are going to want in this car. Now, the overall comfort of the GT86 is really not that bad. There is a lot of road noise, as you can probably hear through the sound quality of this video, but the overall ride, while it's firm, it's controlled. It doesn't feel like it's jitter or anything. It feels relatively nice for the fact that it's a sports car. You know, I mean, obviously it's not going to be a luxury car quality ride, but it's firm and controlled, and I really, really like it. It's awesome. It's a real good ride. And the overall comfort of the interior is pretty nice. I mean, you have all the features you're ever going to need in a car like this, and it's really easy to get comfy at home. I'm 6'2", I have plenty of headroom, plenty of knee room. I actually have a decent amount of thigh support, which is pretty uncommon. And making everything a lot better is you have rear seats where if you feel like sawing off your legs and bearing through the pain of doing that, you can fit back there, and luckily the trunk is big enough to fit your severed limbs because it is a hatch. I mean, it's not a hatch, it's a sedan, so you actually have a decent amount of room, and since the top doesn't go down, you actually have even more room than you would in, say, the Miata, where they have to rob some trunk space for the top when it's folded flat. So therefore you can carry your legs in peace while you're riding in the back seat of the car. Very, very thoughtful feature by Toyota. But let's talk a bit about the personality. It's something we always look for here in Motor Minds, is for the car's personality, because if a car doesn't speak to you, what's the point of owning it? Now this car, it speaks to me big time. This is a performance machine, and Toyotas have always been somewhat void of personality, but this car, oh, it has it in spades. And you're probably just like, oh, he's gonna be like, oh, it's a fun car, he wants to go out and have some fun, typical personality stuff. Yes, it wants to go have fun, but it's more than that. Just the fact that you're driving around in a car that you know they made for the fans really, really says something. Like the 86 badges, they're harking back to what Toyota used to be great at, because they used to be great at making these sports cars. They had the Supra, they had the MR2, the 2000 GT. This is what Toyota used to do, and they hadn't cornered that market in such a long time that when they brought this car back, they knew exactly what they were doing. They made it for the enthusiasts, and you can see the passion in their work when you drive this car. The attention to detail in the driving experience is really second to none. And I know if I had 25 grand to spend and I wanted a car that I wanted purely for fun, I would walk over and buy one of these brand new. And I mean, honestly, I get a used one, obviously, but if I were buying a new car for 25 grand, I want something sporty, this is the car I'd buy. It just has everything you want for a sporty drive. It feels great. It's such a solid product, and I don't know why they don't sell more of them. Maybe, I mean, I guess not everyone's in the market for a car like this, but still, I would expect to see a few more than I do. But as always, thank you so much for watching Motor Minds. Huge shout out to Orisman Chantilly Toyota, Arlo Guthrie and David Timona over there are great guys. They lent me this car and many others for reviews. So if you are in the DC area and you're looking for a Toyota product, definitely please go check them out. As always, if you like the content, which I hope you do, feel free to subscribe and definitely drop a comment. We always like to engage our viewers and our fan base because it's always nice to connect with you guys, see what you guys think of our content, answer any questions you guys might have. So yeah, please drop a comment, and I'm looking forward to you guys following our channel and watching our future videos.